Hello students, I welcome you to the very new initiative that we are launching. It will be a series of video that will be regularly uploading and that goes by the name of Rapids. Concise current, no clutter. So the purpose of these videos would be to bring to you the very important and prelims specific current affairs which is concise and which is short, which will help you in your quick revision, and anything which is not important or any additional information related to the topic which is not required for prelims is not included in these videos. So it helps you to save your time and do a very smart revision with these rapid short and quick videos that will help you to go through your current affairs over the last 1 and 1.5 years. All the important national and international happenings will be covered in these videos, and these are specifically designed to help you in the 2022 prelims, as we all know that only few months are there for the prelims and we have to revise a lot of current affairs. So we will be regularly giving you these rapids which to help you in your preparation. So without wasting any further time, let's start with our first video. So our first topic that we are covering is related to Meghalaya Enterprise Architecture Project, MGEA. Now that is built upon the framework of India. This framework was recently, few years back, it was launched, and it gives the basic foundation, to launch different e-governance initiatives. So basically this was launched by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Different states or local bodies or central organizations can use this basic framework to further build their own apps or their own portals or their own e-governance facilities. So it basically, if you see India as something that provides the base and on which the different state governments or local bodies can have their own customized makeovers, and then they can release their own versions of this architecture. This is basically help to develop different e-governance initiatives. Okay, so now what makes this news important is Meghalaya becomes the first state to use this base or to use this framework to come up with its own enterprise architecture, and that this is making this news important. And this India framework that covers different domains of e-governance, like in business, application, data technology, performance, security, integration and architecture governance. So all these areas, the common platform or integrated platform is given by this India as a framework, and this can be utilized by different state governments or local bodies to come up with their own customized form of e-governance services. So to give you a very brief introduction, this is a picture which is taken from the ministry website, and if you can see, focus on this area, the technology, the interoperability part, like different e-governance facilities are there of different states, of the state and the center. So it helps to develop an interoperable set of services so that two services can be interoperated and the data can be shared, the data can be transferred, integrated analysis, data mining, all those things can be performed over this. So shared infrastructure, common applications, open standards which can be used by different state governments is provided by this framework, and Meghalaya has become the first state to leverage this particular framework. So this is the news. Then the second one is air launched unmanned aerial vehicle. So this particular development of these vehicles has been envisaged under the project agreement which is signed between India and USA. Okay, so these are the main areas that you need to focus: the project, the name, the countries involved, and also the framework under which this has been signed. So basically this is under the umbrella DTTI, which is Defense Technology and Trade Initiative. Under this also there is research, development, testing and evaluation agreement between India and USA. Under this particular project agreement was signed, and this goes by the name of Unmanned Aerial Vehicle. So India will be assisted under this through the Joint Development Program. So this was coming to this particularly was first signed in 2006 and it was renewed in 2015. Now since we are dealing with this, it becomes important to quickly go through these agreements which that were also signed between India and US in the recent years. So these were signed in the same order as it has been listed over here. So this was signed first, this was second, this third and this fourth. So very briefly I will let you go through these agreements. So GSOMIA is the first agreement, which is for security of military information agreement. So all the related information related to the military things or military related information exchanges, that is guided under this agreement. Then logistics exchange memorandum of agreement. This was signed in the year 2016, and this is used to access each other's military base, and on what parameters, on what grounds these will be accessed, all these are specified under these agreements. This particular agreement, this was signed in the year 2018, and this is related to the sharing of the sharing between the two militaries of the high end technologies that one country has, it can share with the other country. So this was signed in 2020, and this was signed most recently and in the year 2020 to be precise, and this is related to the sharing of high end military technology, logistics and geospatial maps. So these are covered under this. So these four agreements were signed between India and USA, and one recent development is this uh, air launched unmanned aerial vehicle, which was signed under DTTI, under that also under this particular agreement. Okay, so this is the second news. Next, reforms in urban planning capacity in India. This is a report which was released by Niti Aayog. Now we all know that the impact of pandemic has been huge and disproportionately huge over the Indian cities, and in that context urban planning and capacity has to be increased, has to be remodified. So for that purpose a report was prepared by Niti Aayog. Before we see what specific things were proposed in that report, let's just quickly understand the importance of urban areas, which is again important because of the pandemic and its impact, and otherwise importance of the urban areas in India. Firstly, urbanization contributes 60% to India's GDP. Urban land is 3.1% only of the total land area in the country, and still you can see how disproportionately an oversized contribution urban area has on India's GDP. Then again, this is one thing which is sort of static information but is related and is important. The difference between the different types of towns. Statutory towns, as the name suggests, it has its origin in some form of statute or in some form of law or legislation. So yes, anything notified under law by the state or the UT or the local bodies. So the towns which specifically is mentioned in such notifications are called statutory towns. Census towns are those which satisfy certain criteria, and criteria could be like that at least 75% of male workers should be engaged in non-agricultural pursuits. So other such criteria are there. So if they satisfy these criteria, they are called census towns. Outgrowths are something which have identifiable and palpable or tangible boundaries. Okay, so those outgrowths, and they are mostly found in the outskirts of the important cities or main cities. They are found to as an outward extension of those cities, but they do have some uh, some boundaries and location which is distinguishable. So this is a basic difference between the three types of towns. Then, one more important thing, that the national infrastructure pipeline, which was in news, and like it was launched in 2019 and for envisaged for a period of 2020 to 25. So in that, 17% of the share is related to urban sector. So these important statistics are there which you need to know. Sometimes UPSC tend to ask some option based questions in which such data are given, and you need to figure out which is correct and which is not. Then these are some of the suggestions which are mentioned in this report by Niti Aayog. One is this 500 Healthy Cities program, which is proposed to be a central sector scheme for a period of 5 years, wherein priority cities will be selected, and the important thing is that they will be selected by the state and local bodies. Okay, so the local bodies are also roped in for a bottom up approach of policy making. Then the aspirations of citizens needs to be assessed in terms of employment, in terms of what they envisage as a good life, or something in social or economic parameters. So these needs to be documented. Then there should be a clear division in the roles and responsibilities of various authorities. Then there should be a training component, short term training component for the elected officials on economic and social benefits. So only on basis of this training they can come up with better policies and better design of the policies. Then private sector needs to be taken into consideration. Their empanelment is important to take consultancy services. So these areas are have been touched upon by the report. This reforms in urban planning capacity. Important thing is that it has been prepared by Niti Aayog, and these are some of the important takeaways from that report. Next, these are some of the military exercises which is sometimes asked in as question, direct question, or as part of option based questions. So there are many exercises India participate on an annual or biennial basis, and these are some of those exercises which were in news recently. One was Zapad exercise, which is a theater level exercise of the Russian armed forces, and India participated in it. Then Simbex. It is between Singapore and India, and it is a maritime bilateral exercise. Exercise Surya Kiran, it is a joint military exercise, and it is between Indian Army and Nepali Army. AUSINDEX, as the name very clearly indicates, it is between Australia and India. It's a biennial maritime warfare exercise. Then Samudra Shakti, it is an exercise between India and Indonesia where the Navy participates. Then SEO exercise Peaceful Mission 2021. As the name suggests, it is an exercise among the countries who are members of this SEO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Then China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, India, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan. These are the members of SEO, and these members participated in this exercise Peaceful Mission 2021. So these are some of the important exercises, and they were in news, so I thought of covering them also. Next, our next topic is WHO update of air pollution standards. So there are two things. One is air quality guidelines. So since 1987, WHO has been periodically releasing these guidelines. Okay, these guidelines basically help or suggest what to do and what not to do, what are the important concerns and the burning issues that need to be prioritized in terms of policies, wherein individual countries can participate or can take inputs for policy design. So that is the air quality guidelines. And one more thing is this update of air pollution standards. This is different. So this was first released in 2005, and since then now it has been updated for the first time since 2005. So this air pollution standards has been updated for different pollutants, and that is that has been done so that the countries can take inputs from them, and they can remodify their own parameters which is country specific. So this is again not binding in nature. Okay, so this was about this pollution standards. In India, CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Bureau, has also initiated this National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Program, and it was initiated in the year 1984 with 7 stations, and eventually it includes different pollutants, the using which the pollution standards has been measured. So, but the point to be noted here is this Knox does not meet the WHO's existing standards also. Okay, the 2005 guideline. Now it has been updated and made more stringent. But even the 2005 guideline, which was existing before this update, even that was not compliant, or that was not complied by this Knox of India. Okay, and there has been considerable difference between Knox guidelines and WHO guidelines. One idea you can have from here is for PM 2.5, the 2005 WHO standard says that 10 should be the maximum limit, but now has been updated to 5. But for India, it is 40. So you can see the difference between this and this. Similarly, for PM 2.5 to 24-hour mean, it is 25 as per the existing standards. After the update has been reduced to 15, so that is the maximum limit. It should not breach. The presence of PM 2.5 should not go beyond this. But in India, it is 60. So there's a huge gap between the standards of India and WHO standards. So this is these are the points where you can you can get an idea of the relativity between these two parameters. So that's all for today. We will be meeting soon with many such important topics to be delivered to you in a very quick manner, and no clutter will be delivered in a very concise manner. So till then, keep studying and all the best.